Guys, welcome back for another solo Omega episode. We'll be running the perimeter checkpoint. This is a C2 rat site. We're going to have to come in a little bit. Go ahead and close on. We'll just go right over the top of it. Probably orbit this cruiser here. Once we burn in, we'll start assigning targets. We definitely want to just kind of get the cruisers down first. No, we want to take the frigates down. I'm not going to worry about the sentries. The cruisers are going to be the trigger on this, so I'm going to go and target up this guy. Once we get around firing range, then we'll turn off the prop mod. Let the frigates kind of close in on us a little bit. It's just to help us with cap. We don't have anything capping us in this one, but there's no need to use more than we have since we're around the booster. Alright, we're in a good spot now, so we're going to go and drop the Magpie. And then I always just save it just in case. It's always good business to save your tractor beam. Or tractor unit rather. Alright, he is done. Go and target these guys. Go and start orbit. And they're already in range too, so we can probably... We're just going to orbit our tractor unit. I know the last time I showed you guys a site, I had to burn in like 50k after we were done, so I'm going to try to avoid that on this one, but I might have to close in depending on these spawns and kind of how far apart they are and everything, but figure while we're running this, I'll kind of give you a little bit more information for people who wanted to know a little bit more about the day-to-day operations, I guess you'd say, going through wormholes. But really a lot of it is just about kind of... Since I don't live in wormhole space, I'm not really worried about rolling holes to get new content. I'm always just kind of on the move. But one thing that'll help you a lot is when you go to look at like the show info on a wormhole. If it says trig space, it's going to go trig space obviously, or null. That stuff's kind of self-explanatory. But anytime it says unknown space, just plain unknown space, it's going to be referring to C1, C2, C3. And then if it says dangerous unknown, that's going to be your C4, C5. And then deadly unknown is going to be your C6. So usually my process is I'll scan down a wormhole. Once I scan it down, I'll bookmark it. And I'll just leave the generic name for it, and I do that just in case I get disconnected. I don't have to rescan, because that's really the most time-consuming thing about wormholing, is just kind of finding a good spot and everything to do stuff in. But once I have everything, go get these guys targeted up. Once I have everything kind of scanned down, I'll go to each wormhole, cloaked obviously, and I'll look at them and see where they're heading and things like that. That allows me to kind of... So if I'm in the Tengu and I'm just kind of... I'm normally working like C2, C3, C1, then I can use that information, and where it just says unknown, I know exactly what I'm going into. I don't actually go into the wormhole. I try to stay away from like C4, C5, C6 in the Tengu, just because you can't... I don't really run anything in those with it. I'll go in there with the buzzard if I'm going to like scout for like the golem or something, but really that's about it. And on these sites right here, I'm just leaving these sentry towers up because they don't do any damage. They don't target you either, I don't think. The last one I did, they didn't target at all, and I just warped off after I was done. This site in particular, and I'm doing these in kind of a way because I know people are out there like wanting to get into wormholing, and they can look up, you know, the stuff for the rat sites. But I think there's a lot of value in just kind of seeing somebody run it and seeing what you're kind of in for and everything. And as you see, it's pretty chill in the Tengu. And like I said, this is the whole reason why I trained into the Tengu, was to do this wormhole stuff. But the perimeter checkpoint is going to be 3 waves, essentially. We're on the 2nd wave right now. The patrollers are actually the trigger, and so I'm actually going to try to force trigger the last wave, which should be 3 frigates, and then a battleship. We're going to have to come in for these guys, because they're range, but they're not really moving towards me too much. These frigates will come in at me, but I'm trying to force everybody kind of into this area so that the Magpie can grab everything up. I'm going to select this structure over here. I'm going to orbit that. Looks like I got a good orbit path on that. Go and cut this booster for now. I'm going to speed up for a few cycles. I just need to get like right over it so everybody's kind of in range. Once we move in a little bit more, I'll get everything turned back on. Excuse me. Now I'm going to sort all these targets. Okay, so frigates are in range. I'm going to go and grab them. Go and cut booster. Or I'm going to cut prop mod and go and turn the booster back on so we can kind of get that working again. But we're going to go ahead and take care of the frigates. We're just going to take care of anything that we can in range, right? We just want to try to speed things up as much as we can. And then obviously just directional scan as you go. I don't carry regular probes. I use combat probes to even scan down wormholes and everything else, just because it keeps me from having to switch back and forth. They do have a lower, you know, strength, but when I first go into a wormhole, I'll just, you know, increase the range of them completely and do kind of like first I'll do like a system-wide scan, see what ships are in play, see if there's any POSs around or anything, and that just gives me kind of an idea of what's going on and how busy that wormhole is. Even if there's nobody online, if there's POSs set up, I know that there's people that are operating there. So it kind of gives me as much information as possible, which is beneficial. Alright, we're going to go ahead and orbit. I think if we orbit this battleship, we'll be in range of these cruisers that are kind of keeping me at distance. Everybody's still in range of the Magpie, so once this frigate goes down, we're going to go into a reload. Cut booster. Go and target this battleship. And then once we get these 3 targets down, we'll be done. I think I'm going to chase down these escorts, though. I'm going to get past this structure and then just beeline to one. I think I'm clear to him now. So that's just going to be an approach. Get the booster back up while we pump in that direction. Whenever you change directions, you're going to take a little bit more damage just because, you know, you're kind of turning on your axis. And it allows them to hit you a little bit better. So we definitely want to have the booster running while we're kind of adjusting. And since these guys are kind of like moving away from us, we definitely want to go up there and grab them. We can throw a few rounds at the battleship while we're moving. One of the cruisers is in range now, so we're going to cut on the battleship, redirect on that cruiser. We're going to change this over to orbit, just so when we close in on them, we're not bumping into them. Alright, we'll do the same thing with this other cruiser. We're going to beeline to him. And then we should be able to just kind of slow boat down to the battleship because we hopefully won't be that far away from him. The space we should have taken the escorts down first, That way we could have just not worried about the other wave on top, and they wouldn't have gotten so far out. But I don't think I have any company in here, so just getting it done. We did end up getting 60k away from our Magpie though, so that's gonna be fun. All right, this is gonna be the last rotation on that prop mod, since we'll be in range pretty soon. Started the launchers a little bit early, but I just want to go ahead and send them. They're already in range now. And then essentially, once he goes down, we'll be flipping this boat around to go grab the other guy. And then we'll basically be this guy, then go into the battleship, and then right back to the Magpie. By the time we get to the Magpie, all of the wrecks should be inside. Magpie's pretty quick. It's got all but the wreck I just killed. Back up to half cap. So we're going to go ahead and turn the prop mod on for one more rotation. We got 3k to go before we can get in range. Alright, he is in range now. Now we're just going to take him down. These are usually about 12-ish million. They're pretty chill. I mean, we haven't been running this for very long. And obviously you can go a little bit faster if you just, you know, if you're not orbiting straight away. You know, if you're speeding through it, you can get it done pretty quick. Let's change this over to orbit instead of approach. We don't want to get too close to him. Go turn on prop mod, just kind of get us in that direction. That's the only thing, is the Tengu's a little bit slow with the battleships. If it's cruiser, battle cruiser, destroyer, anything below, it works out pretty well. It's just when it comes down to battleships, it's just one of those things. So I try to stay kind of on this side of wormhole space. Everything else is kind of Golem duty. We're only 39 from the Magpie now. Turn this booster off. Turn the prop mod off. Kind of chill, because he's almost in hull. We just had a really unfortunate... He would have already been dead if we weren't worrying about a reload right there. I'm going to check our D-scan. Still pretty good. And he's down. We can actually save ourselves a lot of time here by looting him. If we can beat the Magpie to it. And we can't. The Magpie's pulling it faster than we can move to it. So yeah, 12.9. Grab that. Get the Magpie. Clear my little location there. And we'll chill out. Go ahead and get out of here. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys can kind of know what you're getting into with perimeter checkpoint now. So, peace out.